What's going on, boys? I'm PokemonChallenges. I'm the best Nuzlocker in the world, probably. And today, we're going to be ranking every single gym leader in the Pokemon series from easiest to hardest when you're Nuzlocking. If you're not subscribed to my channel, probably. You think you are, but you're actually not, because the algorithm keeps recommending you my videos, so you think you're subscribed, but you're actually not. So scroll down and click the subscribe button to make sure to see all of my videos. Make sure to leave a like on the video as well. Something algorithm. Let's get into the video. Let's go. All right, the 4 tiers are going to be Run Killer, Tough, Meh, and Free. Free just means you can beat it no matter what you have. Meh means you probably are going to beat it, but depending on some teams, you might not be able to beat it. There's some trickery that can happen, some bullshit that can happen. And then there's Tough, which is like you're probably going to have to plan around this one, and it's probably going to be team dependent if you win or not. And then Run Killer is like you have to hardcore prepare for this specific fight. I'd also like to preface this video real quick by being full disclosure. I am a pro Nuzlocker. I do have 3,000 or more hours of Nuzlocke experience, but it's been a long time since I've played Gen 7. I've only ever done one Gen 7 run. So the Gen 7 ratings here are going to be a little washy. I'm not really 100% sure on these. Okay, starting out right away, starting out strong, I think Olima in Ultra Sun and Moon is a Run Killer. 100%. This fight is tough as fuck. If I remember this correctly from my Ultra Sun and Moon run, the level cap in this is like really tough, right? And if you play with super strict rules, you only get like 2 encounters up until this point. This can be a super tough fight. The early game of Ultra Sun and Moon is really wonky. I think this is a Run Killer for sure. The level caps are so weird in this because we used to play with level caps for the totem Pokemon and stuff. This fight is pretty tough from what I remember. Yeah, Rockrunnit or Wishy-Washy. Both of those fights are pretty tough. You got to prepare pretty hard for them, especially if you're like doing hardcore rule sets, so no items, no over-leveling. This is like pretty fucking hard. We're talking about Ultra Sun and Moon here, right? With the Araquanid. This thing is tough as fuck. I would say Kiawe is meh. I think up until this point, you probably have like a good water type and stuff. Fire types are usually not that hard to counter. The Marowak, the Salazzle. It can catch you off guard, I think, sometimes, especially the Salazzle. But if you plan for it accordingly, I think this should be a pretty easy fight. I think Mallow is the fucking Lurantis. That shit caught me off guard, man. I think that shit can fuck you up if you're not prepared. I think this is a tough gym leader. Might actually be a Run Killer. The Lurantis fight was tough as fuck, man. You deal with like Solar Blade, Sunny Day shit. If you don't have like I think this is a Run Killer. If you don't have like an explicit plan to deal with this, you get fucked up. Man, the fights in Ultra Sun and Moon were all pretty difficult now looking back on it, huh? Yeah, it's got like synthesis and shit. Yeah. This is definitely a Run Killer, 100%. Sophocles. This guy was meh. There was some tough spots in this fight, but I think I mainly negatively remember it because of my solo runs. The Vikavolt was harder than Togedemaru, I agree, but I think this is definitely in meh tier. I don't think this had anything tough going on, to be honest. The Mimikyu trial, I felt like was pretty easy as well. You need like a plan, but I think if you have a plan to like break it and shit, it's probably somewhere between meh and tough. I'm going to put it at the bottom of tough because, again, I don't remember fighting it too well and people in chat are saying that it is, so... I think it probably depends on Ultra Sun and Moon or not, right? I think Ultra Sun and Moon, this fight was harder. It's probably somewhere in between here, though. This trial, I remember being really tough. The Rabombi trial, I felt like was almost like Run Killer tier. I think this fight was super rough. I think this is a Run Killer for sure. Yeah, like Quiver Dance and shit. This thing wipe you. It's super easy. Hala is this guy's name, right? I feel like this was free, honestly. I remember this fight being any amount of tough. The only tough part I remember is doing this with the Rattata solo run. Olivia was also meh, in my opinion. I think Olivia was very beatable. Honestly, yeah, I think the Kahunas are all pretty easy. I think Olivia had like one thing that could go wrong. Olivia is definitely meh. Like, you can run into some bullshit, I think, if you're like caught super off guard. Honestly, I think she's just free, man. You just need to take like one Z move, right? Lycanroc is like not that strong. I think Olivia's free, and I also have never had ever problems with Nanu or heard anyone having problems with Nanu. Yeah, this fight's just free. Hapu, I think, is meh to tough. She does have a decent team, but I think by that point, your team should be so good that you should be able to beat this. Her Mudbray is pretty powerful, though. I will say that. She might be harder level cap-wise in Ultra Sun and Moon. But I think you just get too many counters to her team for this to be a tough fight. Thank God we're done with Gen 7. I know so little about those games. Okay. I think Roxanne is free. I think no matter what starter you start with in Hoenn, you should be always getting this fight, no matter what. If you somehow were to lose your starter before Roxanne, I think even then you have multiple alleyways to deal with this fight. You can get grass types, you can get bullet seed. I don't see you ever losing to Roxanne, man. Sorry. Brawly, I think, is like meh. I think if you're inexperienced, I think if you run into like the bulk up shit and he heals a couple times and you're completely unprepared, I think you can wipe to Brawly. Do you get Combuskin for Roxanne? Not in hardcore, no. But I think even if you don't, I think there's too many options that you can get. There's so many encounters before Roxanne, right? Fighting like a Geodude and a Nose Pass should be pretty free. I guess if you are playing with level caps, she's closer to here. But I think this fight is still free as fuck. You can get Shroomish, you can get C-Dot, you can get Lotad, you can get all sorts of shit. Wingull. Okay. Yeah, I think Brawly can catch you off guard. But I think you get too much good shit. The thing is, like, you can get Talos super easily. You can get a Wingull. Like there's a lot of options. I think Watson is probably tough. As free as I would like this fight to be, I do think there's not that many options that are that good against his lineup. I think Watson is definitely a tough fight. There's a lot going on. His Magneton is pretty strong, and it's kind of hard to find a counter to that. If you picked Marshtomp, I would say it's probably a free fight. But if you didn't, this fight is definitely very tough. I'll put it a little bit lower here because you can pick Marshtomp. I think Flannery is meh. There can be teams that can lose to Flannery. Overheat is scary, but I think by that point there's just so many options, so many fishing spots, so many points to get like good water types. Like I think there's teams that can lose to her if you're super unprepared, but I think Norman's a huge pushover. He's definitely harder in Emerald. The thing is, as soon as you know Protect strats, it's a pretty free fight, but there is still tough things that can happen, and Slacking does deal a good amount of damage. And I think especially for beginners, this fight can be tough at times. I would put him at like the bottom of tough. It's like one of those things where like if you're a very experienced Nuzlocker, this fight is probably closer to free than it is to tough. But I think as a beginner, especially in Emerald, this fight can trip you up. Honestly, the more I talk about it, I think he's more top of meta tier. I think Winona is absolutely a run killer. I think Dragon Dance Altaria, if you're not prepared to deal with it, can absolutely wreck your team. You need to plan for this or you are going to get shit on. Skarmory can be scary. Even her Pelipper can be really annoying. Like, you need like a really good plan to go into this fight. Dragon Dance plus Earthquake is just... honestly, any Dragon Dance team can be a run killer. I think Tate and Liza, depending on if you're in Emerald or in Ruby Sapphire, sit between tough and run killer. I think Emerald, Tate, and Liza are probably a run killer. I think just Ruby and Sapphire are tough. I mean, like, their team size literally doubles from one game to another. They're cheesable with, like, a dark type in Emerald, but it still takes a lot of planning and stuff. Okay, I think Wallace is, like, bottom of tough tier. Because, I mean, like, that melodic can be hard to crack, but there's not that much going on. His team is just not that good. If you do have counters to water types, you should be easy. Honestly, I think he's more top of meta tier because you have so many options at this point. But I do think Hoenn is either like top of tough or bottom of run. That Kingdra can be really scary, and I've seen runs die to it. It's still like it is easy to answer. I think even with like a decently, I think he's only a run killer if your team is like giga fucked. Double team is pretty spooky. You can get super fucked by it, but you need to let it like set up for a long time, which is possible because you're not gonna like one shot it. I'll put him in run killer. Yeah, no, I think he's a run killer for sure. Faulkner is super interesting because with level caps, the level 9 level cap is actually really tough for GSC. And then with Roost as well, I'm gonna put him in meta tier. I think if you're good enough, I think this fight should be good. But I think if you're inexperienced or relatively inexperienced and play with level caps, this fight can trip you up sometimes. I'm not going to put him higher than Met here. That's for sure. Okay, hot take. Hot take here. I think in Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Nah. I'm too jaded by Storm Silver. This Scyther doesn't have Swords Dance, man. I think this is definitely a tough gym, though. Not so much in GSC, but in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, absolutely. So I'm going to put him like at the bottom of tough tier. I think you can definitely... I've seen people struggle with this gym for sure. 100%. It's not like Storm Silver where it's a complete run killer, but yeah. All right, this might be the hottest take of the video. I think Whitney is meh. I think Whitney is meh, dude. There is so many options for you to deal with her Pokemon. Outside of like crazy like metronome RNG or crazy stomp flinch RNG, I think you should be able to play around the rollout at that point. You have a team of 6 Pokemon against this available. You do have to make a bit of a plan for her, and we did say that that's kind of the definition of tough tier. So I guess, like, yeah, you need a plan around rollout. But I think this run only fucks you up if you're very inexperienced. I think this is, like, the bottom of tough tier. I don't think she's that much harder than Bugsy. I think Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Morty is pretty close to free. GSC, Morty... If you're really unprepared, I think this fight is always free. I can't see a Nuzlocke dying to Morty, man. Like, you're gonna have a normal type at this point, right? Just switch, right? Hypnosis plus Dream Eater can be scary, but I'll put him in meh. I think he can fuck you up with status and GSC, but Chuck. What is his other Pokemon except for Poliwrath again? Oh, Primeape. Man, this fight is so free. I'm sorry. There's so many options you get until... You can even delay this until you have more options. Sorry, Chuck is so fucking free. I can't possibly imagine anyone dying to this gym leader. Like, can you get hacks? I think Rock Slide flinches, I guess. Primeape can double team in Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Honestly, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Chuck doesn't look that insanely Omega free. But I think those are such fringe cases. I think Jasmine is also pretty free. Like, the problem with these 3 gym leaders is you can delay them so much, right? And you can have a pretty great team by all of them. Price, I think, is probably also free, unless I'm forgetting something. Fuck, man. Mid-game Gen 2 is just such a snore fest, dude. And Ice types fucking suck. This guy has a fucking seal. I don't think Claire is tough. She has a Kingdra too. She has a Gyarados in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, which kind of changes things, but the Gyarados' only physical move is Bite. Hydro Pump, Dragon Pulse, Kingdra is kind of scary. I think she's like the top of meh tier, yeah. I think Viola is free. I think Grant is not free. I think Grant is meh. The thing is, Grant will probably overlevel you. But man, you can get the Rock Smash TM at that point. You can get so many options to sweep him. Wow, chat is so divided on this one. I think he's like meh. I just think he's meh. I think he can do things, but I think you're mostly gonna be fine. It's probably somewhere here. I don't know. The ordering is really hard, to be honest. Yeah, like if you bring 6 mods to the Grant fight, how are you losing that? I don't know. I think he might be here somewhere. I think Corinna is also meh. Holucha can be tough, but as long as you have like a decent team. Also a ghost type makes this fight so easy. I don't know how many of those you can get at that point. I don't think... The Holucha can be tough for sure. But again, it's 3 Pokemon. You can get a team of 6 for this. Like, pretty well. It's pretty easy. This is probably the freest gym leader of all time. Clement, I think, is... high Met tier. I think there's some shit that can happen because this team is very fast. Nemolga can be awkward to counter in Nuzlockes, but I think there's still plenty of opportunities to do so. I think Valerie is pretty free. Is there anything Valerie can do? I think Valerie is just free. God, X and Y had such piss easy gym leaders. I think Olympia is decently tough. I think Calm Mind users can fuck you up, man. If you're unprepared. I think Olympia is tough. Maybe again, it's just 3 Pokemon for that point in the game. And you get pretty damn good Pokemon in X and Y, actually. I think she's somewhere like bottom of tough tier, I think. You do get a free Lucario in X and Y, that is true. I think Wolfric is also insanely free. Probably something like this. Brock, Dude, Brock in yellow, or if you pick Charmander, especially in Gen 1, that's a tough fucking fight. It's obviously free if you pick Bulbasaur or Squirtle. I'll put him in meh, as in like you have to prepare by not picking Charmander. But in yellow, it's like legit like tough. Yellow with level caps, it's like run killer almost. I don't know, I'll put him... This is so hard to rank because it completely depends on the game that you're playing and the starter that you choose. He's like either free, he can be anywhere from free to run killer. I don't know, I'll put him in tough. I'll put him in meh, I don't know. I think Misty is tough. I think Misty can definitely wipe you. I think Misty can be very scary. Again, it depends a little bit, but like even in like Fire Red, Leaf Green, like Water Pulse Confusions, Starmie has really good stats. I think Misty is definitely a tough fight, 100%. I think for Surge, you get too many options, including a Dig TM, for it to be considered a tough fight. I don't think he's free. I think you definitely need to do planning. I think it's a very winnable fight. I think Erica's free. I think you get too many options to get fire or flying types at that point. You fucking sweep through that shit so easy. Erica is like super duper free. Turns out grass types also just kind of suck. I think Koga can be menacing, mostly because you can fight him very early after Erica and you could still be a little under leveled for him. But like his Pokemon just aren't that strong, to be honest. I think Koga is meh tier. Self-destruct is scary. Yeah, I think he's like somewhere here. Sabrina, I think, is tough. I think Sabrina in Gen 1 is a really tough fight. And I think in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, it can also be scary. Sabrina in yellow is free-ish. I think Sabrina is like middle of tough tier. I think she's like somewhere here. Or like kind of high tough tier, I think. I think Blaine is super free. Fire types of that. There's just too many good water types you can get up to that point. Man, Giovanni in Gen 1 sucks so much ass. All his Pokemon's learn sets are garbage, dude. In Fire Red, Leaf Green, it's a little tougher. I think Giovanni is like... Can he do anything? Is there anything Giovanni can do? I think he's just free, right? Jasmine, I think, is also free, right? What's her team? Not Jasmine, I'm sorry, Janine. Janine is like a little bit tougher version of Koga, but you're also later in the game. Does she really have 2 Ariados and Heart Gold, Soul Silver? That's so fucking stupid. I think she's definitely easier than Koga because of the options you have until that point. I think she's just free, honestly. Blue, I'm not sure if he's a run killer. You do have very good options up until that point. I think this is a tough fight. There's like weird Trick Room strats. He has a really good, he has a Dragonance Gyarados. You definitely have to make a plan for this gym. I think he might be... I feel like any Dragonance mons makes you potentially a run killer, to be honest. This team is tough, man. This is a tough fucking team with really good movesets. I think this is a run killer for sure. I think Rourke is Omega free. I think Gardenia is also Omega free because you get too many options up until that point. I think Maylene, is that her name? She does have a Lucario. I don't see anyone ever dying to that though. Like you're probably gonna lose something in Lucario, but there's no way you get swept by it, I don't think. I think she's like meh. Crasher Wake, I think, is not free for sure. I think Wake can fuck you up if you're not careful. I think he's like high meh tier. I think if you don't have a pretty specific plan, there's like ways in which you can get wiped by it for sure. There's still plenty of options in Gen 4. I don't think he's a tough gym leader, but I think he's honestly, I'll put him at the bottom of tough. I think you may need to make a pretty solid plan to beat Crasher Wake. I don't have any experience with Fantina in Diamond and Pearl. I just know that she's definitely tough in Platinum. This is another one of those fights where like you pretty much need a plan going in. I think she's somewhere here. Dude, Byron is like free, dude. What the fuck does Byron do to wipe a team? Like what? Yeah, Byron is like super free. Candace, I think Candace can do damage to you. Frostless Obama Snow is kind of scary. Those are some specific circumstances that have to happen to fuck you. Like, if you get through the Frostless, you're fine. Volkner is just kind of free, right? I don't know if that's true. You need decent coverage in Diamond and Pearl, and in Platinum, he does have his Electivire. I think Volkner is somewhere in meh tier. I think he's around Clement, probably. I'm gonna rank all of these 3 at the same time because I think they all play very similarly. But I mean, you can just get a monkey to counter all of these, right? I think these are always free, no? It's just about teaching you type matchups. I think Lenora, even in vanilla black and white, I think is either tough or maybe a run killer. Retaliate is pretty scary, right? But you're probably not gonna wipe to her. I think she's just tough. Like, for inexperienced players, you can get fucked, right? I think she's somewhere around Whitney. 2 Pokemon is just kind of too easy to answer. What the fuck is Berg's team in vanilla, man? I don't remember any of these. I just remember I'm too preoccupied with Blaze Black. I think this fight is pretty free. I don't think there's anything he can do really to you. Elisa. I think Elisa can be scary if you're not like prepared. Paralysis hacks. Like I said earlier, Emolga can be awkward to counter. Zebstrika can do shit. The thing is, there is the Desert before to get a ground type, and you can get like pretty free shit for it, but you do really need to plan for it. I think Elisa is like somewhere around like Misty tier. I think Clay's a run killer. I think if you're not super prepared for Excadrill, you're gonna wipe to it for sure. Like, Excadrill is so scary. For if you don't super prepare for it. I see so many people die to Clay. It's definitely a huge difficulty spike in that game. Excadrill is like the like archetypal run killer for sure. I think Skyla is tough. No, I think I'm biased actually. I think Skyla is definitely meh. You get the fucking cave before that. Yeah, no, I'm too biased by the Ludwig run. People who are better than Ludwig can sweep this fight super easily. So like everyone. I think Skyla is like here-ish. Probably lower actually. She's probably like here. There's just a few things that can trip you up, I think. Man, only her Swoobat has fucking I think in black and white too she's a little harder, but even there. Bryson's another ice type gym leader. I think he's just super free. I think he's just the same as Price, right? Do both Iris and Drayden have that Haxorus, the Dragon Dance Haxorus? It does have Dragon Tail. I still think this is a run killer. For sure. You need to have a plan for this. Especially in black and white too, dude. And then Iris is the same, right? Iris is a little bit lower. We're not like judging champions here. Like I didn't judge Wallace on being a champion. I didn't judge Blue on being a champion. I think in black and white 1 she's easier than Drayden for sure, but I think a Dragon Dance Haxorus. This one has Dragon Tail though. I'm gonna put her at top of tough tier. I think black and white 2 is what pushes Drayden into run killer here. There's no way Sharon does anything in black and white 2, right? How do you possibly lose this fight? There's no way. Some people are saying he wipes you. So I guess I'm underestimating it. So I guess to like more inexperienced players, he can. Yeah, you know what? Stab tackles in Gen 5 are kind of scary. I'll put him in meh tier. I think he's definitely. I mean, he can't be free if all of you are saying he's not. Yeah. Otherwise, he'd be free. Roxy is free for sure, though, right? There's no way anyone's ever wiped to this fight. Like, what the fuck does she do? I guess like Poison Sting hacks, Protect, Venoshock. I'm sorry, there's no way she's not free. Fuck off. I think Marlon is like top of meh tier. His Caracosta is Shell Smash, right? Scald RNG. But Shell Smash is not super duper scary. I'll put him in meh tier. I think Shell Smash Caracosta is something that is a force to be reckoned with, but I think that's where Marlon sits. Alright, Sword and Shield boys. Oh no. These are any of these not free? I think Pierce can be tough because you can't Dynamax. And I think Raihan can be tough because double battles are hard. Oh, I've also heard people wiping to Nessa. Yeah. I think these 3 are definitely not free. I've never fought Alistair before. I think I'll put Piers at like the top of meh tier because I don't think you like wipe to him. I think you just lose something to counter, right? I think Raihan is like tough, and then I think Nessa can be tough as well because people might get fucked by her snapping turtle. This guy is definitely free. Kabu I think is free. I think this gal is free. I've never fought this guy before. I think she's meh. Opal. I think she has some tools. If your team is like giga shit. Alistair, I can't judge. Why is Bede in here? And Marnie? They became gym leaders post game. Okay, I don't care about these. I also haven't fought the ice girl. What's her name? Melanie? That's how I remembered it. And then I think this guy is pretty free. I'll put him in mad because the stat changing shit can trip you up sometimes if you're inexperienced. But okay, I think that's it. I think this is a pretty reasonable list. Write a comment about how wrong I am about any of these. I'm looking forward to not reading any of them. Make sure to leave a like as well after you do that. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Make sure to click the subscribe button. Outro, YouTube outro. I can definitely do YouTube outros very well. Goodbye.